Hello students, and welcome to another English lesson. We will now understand in detail the poem by Rabindranath Tagore, Where the Mind is Without Fear. Where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where knowledge is free, where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls, where words come out from the depth of truth, where tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection, where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into the dreary desert sand of dead habit, where the mind is led forward by thee into ever widening thought and action, into that heaven of freedom, my Father, let my country awake. Poem written by Rabindranath Tagore. To summarize this poem, Where the Mind is Without Fear is a poem written by the Nobel laureate Rabindranath Tagore before India's independence. It represents Tagore's vision of a new and awakened India. The poet is not happy with the present state of his country, India, and so he invokes God's blessings to awaken the people of his motherland India and make his country the best or the ideal place to live in. With God's help, the citizens of India will get true freedom. But to attain or to get this true freedom, the citizens must be fearless, without any fear in mind, and dignified in their action or conduct. There should not be any barrier or obstacle in the search for knowledge and truth. Indians must be free from all old habits, superstitions, and old outdated customs. And there should not be narrow divisions coming in the way of human unity. Human beings should be united. They should not be divided by narrow divisions of caste, creed, religion, language, etc. Indians must be truthful and must strive, that is, they must work hard to achieve perfection in their thought and in their actions. They must be very sincere in word and actions, and all actions and words should be based not on old outdated customs or habits or superstition, but solely on clear reasoning power. The poet prays that with God's blessings, our motherland India will achieve this true freedom, not from the British rule only, but of mind and of the Indian spirit. According to Tagore, true freedom is a man's inner possession and it can only be got with God's help. So, in other words, this poem is a prayer to God. A prayer where Tagore asks God to give all his brothers and sister Indians, okay, freedom, true freedom of mind and spirit. Now, a line by line explanation. Where the mind is without fear, the poet wishes that his countrymen or Indians be free from all fear. They should be able to live and think by themselves, but without any fear. There should not be any fear. The next line, and the head is held high. People should hold their heads high with self-respect and dignity. There is no need to feel that Indians are lesser than any other country in the world. Where knowledge is free, that is where each Indian has equal opportunities to gain knowledge anywhere. There should not be any distinctions of caste, creed, whether the person is rich or poor. Every Indian should be able to have knowledge. Where the world has not been broken into fragments by narrow domestic walls. That means where the people are not divided into small groups on the basis of caste, creed, language, religion, money, position, etc. So there should be unity and not, divisions. Where words come out from the depth of truth. That means where Indians speak honestly and truthfully. Where tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection. That means where people never get tired of working, they tirelessly work to improve themselves and therefore to achieve perfection in all fields of life. Whether it be agriculture, any small job, they should work hard. Where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into the dreary sand of dead habit. Here where all outdated customs, useless habits, blind beliefs, superstition should all be abolished, completely destroyed, and clear reasoning power will triumph or be victorious above all these other outdated customs and traditions and all useful habits, useless habits and blind beliefs. Where the mind is led forward by thee into ever widening thought and action. That means where people will be inspired, thee meaning God. Okay, people will be inspired by God to expand their thoughts and actions, not only for themselves and for normal people of society, but even to include the weak and the marginalized, those who don't have opportunities, those who are suffering due to some state of their life. So therefore, we not only should think about ourselves, but also think about the society, the weak people in society, like children who don't get education, or like the elderly, or people who don't have homes. Into that heaven of freedom, my Father, let my country awake. The poet earnestly, very seriously, sincerely prays to God to lead India into a paradise of freedom, a heaven of freedom, where spirituality, meaning holiness, brotherhood, free education, unity, peace, truth, reason, love, pure thoughts, and noble actions will reign supreme, means all these good qualities will rule and the bad qualities should be thrown out. That is Rabindranath Tagore's prayer to God for his country, India. Some figures of speech: where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, and into the dreary desert sand of dead habit. Both these are examples of alliteration. In the first one, we have the similar sound of the letters H, H and H. And in the second one, the sound of D is repeated for poetic effect. Where tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection is personification, where an inanimate striving has been given the human qualities of being tireless and of stretching its arms. Where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way. Again, personification, because an inanimate object, non-living object like stream, has been given the human quality of losing its way. where the mind is without fear and the head is held high. Synecdoche, your mind and head, they are parts and stand for a person or a citizen, that is the whole. So instead of saying where the man is without fear and who's, we use words like the parts like the mind and the head. And that figure of speech is called synecdoche. Where the world has not been broken into fragments by narrow domestic walls is an example of metaphor where an indirect comparison has been made between narrow domestic walls and the narrow-minded divisions of caste, creed and religion in our society. Into that heaven of freedom, my father, let my country awake. This is example of apostrophe. A direct address has been made to Father or God, someone who is not present there. So when we directly address God or a person who is not there, that becomes apostrophe. Appreciation of the poem. The poem Where the Mind is Without Fear is written by the poet, writer, composer, philosopher, social reformer, painter and Nobel laureate Rabindranath Tagore. There is no fixed rhyme scheme in the poem as it is written in free verse form. The poetic devices or figures of speech utilized in the poem are alliteration, metaphor, apostrophe, personification, and synecdoche. The epicenter or the main central idea of the poem is the poet's vision of freedom for his nation, India. He appeals to God for an awakening of his countrymen for the sake of the bright future of his country. Each idea has been associated with the word where. The poem shows a wonderful dream of a free and uniform nation where fellow Indians live with one another in harmony, in peace. The poem has an all-embracing message and is pertinent or relevant even in today's world.